What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel here. This is going to be a super awesome video. One of my favorite lakes is opening back up here in just a little bit, and that is none other than Squaw Creek Reservoir. Now, why do I love this lake so much? Well, it is hard to go there and not catch anything. I mean, actually, you can go there and it's hard not to catch at least 30 fish, and that's like at least 30 fish. Like, not even trying, eyes closed, you can probably catch 30 fish right off the ramp if you want. But Squaw Creek Reservoir, guys, is a hot water lake. It's a power plant lake. So before we hop into my favorite baits and most effective baits for the lake, let's talk about the how to get in, how to go through all that process real quick. So Squaw Creek Reservoir is managed by a company, I think it's like Lumaya or something like that. And you have to register or reserve a spot on the lake. I think it's only 150 boats per day, and the lake is only open October to March, or maybe, yeah, October to March, and it's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then excluding your holidays like Christmas and stuff if it lands on a day like that. So the lake itself, you can find all the information on their website. I can link that down below and you can check it out. But if you're in the Texas area, if you're in Texas, it is I definitely recommend going to fish this lake at least once. It's a magical lake. So around the lake, there's not a lot of cover, diverse cover in the lake. So the lake itself is set up, and it's, if you look at it from like an aerial view, most of it is rock. Actually, all of it is rock. It's gonna be hard rock, great for cranking and stuff like that. However, there's a huge population of trees that you have to get around, like the salt cedars. Now, running through the lake is fine. There are areas of the lake that do have trees that stick all the way up in like deep water. Watch out for those. Generally, you can see them and you won't hit them. But most of the lake you can run, especially in the south end. Once you get up north, and especially in some areas in the south, these trees will stick up 20, 30 feet out of the, from the bottom of the lake up like that, and the fish absolutely love sitting in that. Now, the lake also does have a humongous tilapia population, and guys can go in, bank fish for tilapia. They can go in with cast nets and catch tilapia and catfish and stuff like that. And a huge forage base for the fish is actually tilapia. Not just that, but there's also shad and stuff and bluegill in there as well that they do eat. Now, with warmer water comes a faster metabolism, and these fish have to eat all the time. So when the lake opens up in October, guys, these are my top baits that I'm gonna be going to target these fish. Now, one of the biggest things about this lake, like I said, is that you will catch fish. It's hard not to catch fish. A lot of people I see on like the Squaw Creek forum on Facebook is like, oh, I went out and caught like 30 or 40. Guys, 30 or 40 is nothing. I've had several 150 plus fish days. My best day ever by myself was 186 fish. Now, they ranged from like little half a pound guys all the way up to 4.5 pounders. Now, the majority of them were 2.5 to 3.5-ish, and I caught an absolute gob ton of those. You know, it was probably 120 plus fish over 2 pounds. I didn't catch many small ones because it's just the schools that I was on, they were generally that 2.5 to 3.5-ish, 4 pound range. So there aren't a lot of giant fish in the lake as well. There's really a big fish on that lake is 6 pounds. Like a giant on that lake is 7 pounds. It used to be a lot better before the tilapia took over, but a lot of the lures I'm throwing are gonna help imitate tilapia. So let's go ahead and hop into some of those lures. So kicking it off, guys, what I like to call pop-off fishing here, you know, dragging a worm is by far one of the most productive ways to catch fish at Squaw Creek. Now, this color here, this Tequila Sunrise 7-inch power worm is going to be super, super deadly. You can throw blue flick, you can throw green pumpkin, you can throw pumpkin seed, you can throw black and blue. Those are all gonna catch fish. However, throwing something that imitates tilapia a little bit, like this Tequila Sunrise, it's got a little pink in it, got some darker colors, darker tones. This is going to be extremely deadly. Now you can throw whites and stuff like that. However, you know, dragging a worm is going to be one of the easiest ways to catch fish. Now, like I said, there's salt cedars everywhere, dead salt cedars that are extremely, extremely sharp and you will break your line pretty easily. So I highly recommend on all these techniques here, throw at least 15-pound line. On this worm here with like a 1/4 ounce weight, 3/8 ounce weight, guys, throw like 20-pound and you're gonna have a blast. Don't worry about it. The fish don't care that much about line size on the lake. So that power worm, guys, is great for throwing out and dragging in. Next up, targeting specific areas on the bank. This guy right here, this is the 4-inch Yamacraw. This is a great profile for the lake. You know, 4 inches is going to be kind of what I think they like in terms of size, and they love a rage craw, Yamacraw style, you know, craw. You know, I don't think there's a lot of crawfish actually in the lake, but I've thrown rage menaces and I've thrown other flipping baits such as like a beaver style bait. And for whatever reason, the craw baits do a whole lot better. I think it's the really, really aggressive flapping of the claws on this bait. Now, you know, you don't have to throw black and blue. Like I said, really just imitate whatever you want. But one of my best colors, most of the time is either black and blue up north or just your traditional green pumpkin down south. So guys, 4-inch Yamacraw, super deadly. It's very durable too, which I really enjoy. So you're gonna have to check those out. You know, everything here can be found at lakeprotackle.com, guys. If you're looking for some bulk line for the lake, we've got some 20-pound Seagar and Vizex right here in a 600-yard spool. We've got some Red Label. We've got Sunline Shooter. We've got all the line you could ever need. Check it out, guys. But let's move on here. So those are the pawpaw fishing, guys. You know, on that Yamacraw, I'm gonna be throwing like a 1/4 to 3/8, you know, tungsten as well, flipping it into the trees, letting it sink down, pulling it up. Guys, that's just boring to me. I like to keep moving. I like to cover water. I don't like to sit in one place for a long time. And the most effective thing I have found in a skirted variation is going to be the Berkley Slobber Knocker. Now, why is the Berkley Slobber Knocker better than a jackhammer in my opinion right now? First of all, the Slobber Knocker has a completely different vibration from a jackhammer, and it also has the power bait mixed into the skirt. And I think scent has a lot to do with the fish on Squaw Creek Reservoir. One of my favorite things to do on the lake is add either Spike It, JJ's, or Bait Pop to my lures, and it helps me catch a ton more fish. I've had days where I will start off the day, catch, I don't know, 20 or 30 fish in like an hour or something, and then the next hour I start putting my stuff in the JJ's and the Spike It and all this stuff, make it all scenty, make it look a little more colorful, and I will double my catch rate instantly. So having this power bait skirt on there and having this different action on the blade is very crucial. So you can still catch fish on a jackhammer, you can catch fish on a slobber knocker, you can catch fish on a robin blade. You probably don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna throw it out there. You can catch fish on a swim jig. It doesn't even have to have a blade. You're gonna catch fish, but I think the most effective way of catching the fish is with this guy right here. So the blade on the slobber knocker does not chatter like a jackhammer. So the jackhammer blade is gonna go chick. This one here is gonna thump a lot harder. It's gonna create a much more dense sound in the water, and I think the fish can pick it up a little bit better and key in on it a lot better as well. So this is gonna be more of a whump, 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 whump through the water. It's gonna push a lot more water, and it's gonna create a lot more commotion in the water as well. So a trailer that I like to put on this is going to be just a simple swim bait, or even just a straight pintail, you know, those twin tail spinnerbait trailers that I've talked about before. Try that on this, guys. You're gonna catch a ton of fish. Throw it out there. You don't even have to sink it down really. You just throw it out there, reel it in. The fish are really, really dumb most of the time. They do get smart here and there, depending on where you're at, but guys, you can move to a different location and still catch them. So that one right there is gonna be one of my go-to picks for just covering water, going down the bank. Very, very effective. And guys, it pains me sometimes when I do these videos because I give out a lot of tips and tricks that most people wouldn't even dream about giving out. So do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it, guys. Comment down below if you've been to Squaw or if you've even heard about it, because these baits here, in my opinion, are the best on the lake. Next up, big spinnerbait, big 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce spinnerbait, guys. If you're fishing deeper trees and you have side scan or live scope or something, and you can target deeper trees down in, let's say 16 to 12 foot of 12 to 16 foot of water. Big ol' spinnerbait. This is going to be the Bass Asset spinnerbait, guys. It's got a big ol' willow leaf blade on it, big ol' Colorado as your secondary blade. This one here is just kind of in a Goldilocks white color. So it's gonna have some gold, it's gonna have some white, it's gonna mimic shad, mimic a tilapia. And if you haven't seen tilapia before, they kind of vary in color. Typically the tilapia in the south end of the lake are much whiter, much brighter than the ones in the north. And that's just because of the water clarity difference. But this one right here, deeper trees, guys, throw it out there. Slow grind it in. And I forgot to talk about rods and stuff. Let me pause for a second. Let me talk about rods. These two baits here, pop-off fishing, guys. 7 foot to 7'3", medium heavy to heavy. Perfect, right? Berkeley slobber knocker, 3/8 or 1/2 ounce, doesn't really matter. 7'4" to 7'6", medium heavy to medium-ish, depending on what you like to throw your chatterbaits on. A little bit heavier, guys, for the spinnerbait. 7'2" to 7'4" to 7'6", medium heavy, heavy-ish rod. There you go, so caught back up. The reason I like to throw this bait here in deeper water is, first of all, the spinnerbait, just proven lure, guys. You catch fish on spinnerbaits, they eat the crap out of them on Squaw Creek on the spinnerbait, especially rolling it really, really deep, nice and slow. You're gonna catch them real good on this. I think the gold blade helps a lot. I've thrown some silver blades, I've thrown some black blades. The gold blades on that willow are very, very deadly, and I think a big key to catching a lot of fish on the lake. Now, a lot more of my bigger bites have come off that spinnerbait. Your catch rate is gonna go down a little bit, but your quality is gonna go up very, very significantly. Usually 17-pound line on this. If not, 20-pound line will do. I love fishing 20-pound line on this just because I know I'm not gonna snap off or break on anything, especially fishing deep down in those trees. Last up, guys, my favorite lure of all time on Squaw Creek. That guy right there. This is, you know what this is. This is a red eye shad Strike King 1/2 ounce rattle trap. Now, the lipless crankbait, guys, it can be hit or miss a lot of the time. If you get around an area that actually has fish, you're gonna catch the snot out of them. And the reason I love the red eye shad so much from Strike King is not only when you slackline this lure, it's gonna shimmy down, but also you can do everything with it. You can jig it up off the bottom like a spoon. You can throw it out there, burn it in, and it's not gonna blow out. I throw 17-pound line, 7'5" medium heavy rod so I can launch it. The Zillion has been my go-to reel for this bait here. You know, the Zillion is a 100 size reel. I can just about spool the sucker, 15-pound line with this guy here. End of a cast, guys, I will get a fish and I will absolutely grind them in. I'm grinding for like 30 seconds to get this fish in. High-speed gear ratio. Actually, everything here, guys, high-speed gear ratio, 7 or 8 or even 10. Faster the better most of the time. This one here, I like to throw on an 8-speed, and I really, I really just slow myself down. You want to feel that bait vibrating. You know, if you reel too fast or too slow, sometimes you're gonna lose that contact. It's not gonna rattle correctly. It's gonna start blowing out. And one of the biggest things I do to this one here is change out the hooks. I like a size 5 or size 6 treble hook that is a lighter wire. Now, why do I change them out to a lighter hook? First off, if I do get stuck in a tree, guys, I can easily pop it out and easily get my bait back. Second of all, the fish's mouths at Squaw Creek are generally a lot gummier, and having a thinner wire hook allows me to get a hook through that fish's lip and easily get them in the boat. Now, I've boat flipped 4.5, 5 pounders with this, with the upgraded hooks to either a Gamakatsu or an owner. And we also have BKK that I'm very interested in trying out as well. The big difference between this hook and something like an EWG short shank hook is that the short shank hook is a lot closer. That point is a lot closer to deep to the shaft of the hook itself. So there's less room for that hook to go grab a tree or something, and I'm not bending my hooks out all the time. Now, even if I do bend my hooks out on these with the upgraded hooks, I just bend them back, no issues, guys. And the lipless crankbait, the one that I caught 186 fish on at that one day at Squaw, guys, I would say 90% of them were off the lipless. The lipless had zero paint on it. It was almost clear. So shizzle is one of my favorite colors. Natural shad's a great one. Oyster's a great one. Anything white, guys, is one of my favorites. Another all-time favorite is going to be the original Bill Lewis Rattle Trap and Emerald Shiner. So we are fully stocked up on all these baits here, guys. Now, even if you don't even live in Texas and you just research Squaw Creek, guys, definitely, if you're in the area, give it a shot. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've at least heard of it. You may have been already, but are you having 70 plus fish days? Like, you know, my best of the best day, 186 by myself in about, what, 6.5 hours, 7 hours of actual fishing time, because the lake does close at 3 o'clock, 3:30. So you're allowed on at 6, get off at 3, essentially. So you have 8 hours to capitalize on as much as you can. So since I started working here, guys, we've brought in a whole ton of new products and stuff that I wasn't able to fish last year. And one of the biggest players that I think will be this year, this guy right here. See that? This is a G-Crack bellows shad, or sorry, bellows gill in the 5.8-inch version. Now, this is a little bit bigger profile than I think most of the fish will eat, but in terms of catching a big fish, a kicker fish out there, this is probably gonna be my go-to. You see, the 5.8-inch is a great size because, like I said, there are tilapia out there and the bass will hammer them. So I think this guy right here is about to get hammered this year in October as those tilapia are going up and messing with the bass. One thing I will mention as well about the lake, spawn is kind of flipped. You know, if you've been on a power plant lake, you know the bass will spawn earlier in the year around December-ish, January, even November sometimes, depending on water temps. So once those fish start getting on beds up shallow, you know this is gonna play, so be on the lookout for it. We're gonna have regular Squaw Creek updates and reports for y'all as soon as I start getting out there and we get people reporting on it, guys, so stay tuned with that as well. If you enjoyed the video, guys, and you enjoyed the information we're sharing here, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. See ya out on Squaw Creek, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.